Aloha everyone, this is Ellie Cochran. She is the Lahaina State Representative. She grew up here in Lahaina, literally survived the fire. And this is her church. And the church, this is the sixth one because it has been destroyed before, but it was destroyed during the Lahaina fire. And then here she was talking about, this is their social hall, Hawaiian, that also was destroyed. That is an ulu tree.
About 850 years old.
850 years old with this tree.
It's got babies. It's still alive actually. I mean, it's shooting out the babies below.
Nice.
Yeah,
So you guys had a very special, this is August 8th, and you had a very special ceremony today here at the church, over here at the bell. There's a bell over here that I want to show you guys. And we were ringing the bell, and
yeah, the bell was once at another church down the road called Aloha, and it was here now, was brought here in the 50s or so. And that's what we would start our services with, ring the bell, ding ding, you know. And back in the day when this was the only, you know, this church is around 203 years old now, or the, you know, the land, not the specific church, but where, you know, Waiola and Waine'e. And that would notify the village, right? That's all there was here. And 5,000 people would come to the church, which was actually situated this way, where this office once was. That was actually the footprint of the original church, which is next door to the pond everybody talks about, Loko o Mokonihinia. And so the island, Moku'ula, the Kuikeoli, Kamehameha III, and, you know, all of our li'i that once where the capital of the kingdom was, they would get in their canoe, paddle across the pond, and right back here we have steps where they would come off their canoe, walk up the stairs, and walk straight into the church here.
wow.
And that's how connected between what's next door and to who's here and what is here. So I'm hearing so much today about this Moku'ula Mokihinia restoration, whatever, but I don't know how any of that can move forward without including this church and the people who are interred here. The people who were on that island got reinterred here because the county had filled in the pond that became stagnant because of the plantation diverting the waters. So all the brown you see up on the mountainside were once cane fields, no longer, and the water got diverted. So the pond became stagnant and mosquito infested. So the county back in the 30s filled it. Public Works Department filled it. So technically, I feel like everything below it has been preserved and undisturbed, just filled on top. And I, as a Camp 3rd or Kamehameha 3rd school kid, I went there from kindergarten up to 7th grade. That was where we had our recess. That's where we played. That's where there was track, there was carnivals, there was baseball games, there were concerts, whatever. I mean, we didn't know what was below our feet. We used it as a recreational place. Swings, there's a jungle gym, you know, I mean, tennis courts. I learned to play tennis there with the Wakita, with Shigesh, you know, Mr. Wakita. And that's what I knew growing up here of what was next door to us. And now it's this whole Moku'ula Mokihinia thing, which is great.
What does that mean?
That Mokuhinia is the pond and Moku'ula is the island where once the royal capital of the Hawaiian kingdom stood. And the people that were there, literally there, who lived there, are now here at our church. They're entombed here.
There's a cemetery on the other side. You can't see where the flag is.
This is Waine'e graveyard. And there's Keopulani. There's Princess Nahiane'ena. There's King Kamuali'i. The list goes on and on of who our main Ho'opili. Ho'opili gave the 1,000 acres to where Lahaina Luna is, where David Malo and, you know, the seminary. I mean, the list goes on and on. Princess Kino'ole. And
they're all buried there?
They're right here.
Wow.
This is who I caretake every day. This is who we, Nakia'io Waianae, have been caretaking every day for 13 years now.
So on the other side where you see that flag, everybody, that is where the cemetery is.
Yeah, and right below that flag is the royal tomb, where Queen Keopulani is. Princess Nahiana. Queen Keopulani was sacred queen, was revered as a god while on earth. Kamehameha I impregnated her to have offsprings that were of high status because of her bloodline. And so King Kamehameha II, the third, that's their mother. And, you know, her great, you know, Queen Liliuokalani's great-great-grandmother is here, Keohohiva. You know, so when people, Mauna Ola, like I always look at Mauna Ola as the keikis of the people who were here. John Kahe'ekai, he was one of the caretakers of the Mauna Ola. His father is Chief Ho'olulu, who is the war advisor to King Kamehameha. Wow. Chief Waipa is here. He took care of all the canoe fleets for Kamehameha. You know, they wrote the Constitution. They literally are the founders of the Hawaiian Kingdom and our people and the land that we have here. So to think that you can separate who we are here and what we do and the people from what is next door, I don't know how you can do that. Because no one's been talking to our church, nobody's been talking to our group called Nakia'io Waine, the Guardians of Waine, about this World Heritage Site, about this restoration stuff. Millions, tens of millions of dollars is gone, disappeared. From the parking lot that was on the corner, that was the revenue generator to create funds to restore Moku'ula Mokuhinia. None of it was ever done. So when I became a council member, I asked the question, what is going on here? So I had the county not renew the lease to this nonprofit called the Friends of Moku'ula, and to take back the control of the parking lot, to take those funds, and before I left, created a fund, a revolving fund called the Cultural Restoration Fund. All monies generated from that parking lot went into this fund, solely to be used for restoration of Moku'ula Mokuhinia. And it better still be there, because this fund was created specifically to protect the funds. Obviously, COVID, funds stopped, and of course the fire, it's gone. But in the meantime, the money should still be intact, and it'll be interesting to see how much is there and what the status is on it. There's a wall here. You can see there's a rock wall. It's 200 years old.
Wow.
And we had the county come to us and say that the wall belongs to the county. We're like, how is a 200-year wall belonging to the county when there was no county 200 years ago? There was no tax map keys. Now all of a sudden you're drawing your lines to incorporate what? Something that doesn't belong to you. Okay, so we've had to fight that. We've had to, like, you know, it's just been, why? It's all about take. And even on the island of Kauai, King Kamoli is the king, the last reigning king for Hawaii. Kamehameha never did overthrow him per se. He ceded, you know, he willingly gave up to, you know, the islands to Kamehameha. And he's here. Wow. King Kamoli is here. That white obelisk is King Kamoli. And, you know, I think a lot of people, there's a group called Friends of Kamoli. I've never seen them come here. I'm just curious if they actually realize that he's not even on that island. Wow. You know, I have interpretive signage here so people understand the history, because it's not being said. It's not being told. And so it explains why he's here. He wanted to be buried at the footsteps of his cousin, Queen Keopuolani. On his deathbed, he told his sisters that were there by his side, said, I want to be next to my cousin on Maui. So that's why he's here. Tama Kaleleki, who has all this documentation, he's been journaling, he's a genealogist for his family, and so he has so much history and background and understands who's connected to who and this and that. And I said, Tama, all this information is stuck in your head. I need it in black and white. I want to create signs. So, you know, when we all are gone one day, people can still come here to this graveyard and read who actually is here, because we won't be here to tell them. You know, so I've had signs made, and I had just had them put in with help of my tenant Vinny. He built the wooden stands, glued the signs on 2 days before the fire. All the signs are perfectly fine. All the wooden stands are perfectly fine. Everything else is burned, melted, done, gone, but not the graveyard is totally intact. And me, I'm going every day to some blessing somewhere outside of Lahaina, up on the hill here, over there. And yet, what about the people here in Lahaina, whose lots are cleared, whose infrastructure is back, water, sewer, power is back? and their lots are cleared, soil's been tested, everything, but no permits. They're in the SMA, they're this, they're maybe in the setback, whatever. You know what? How did Joanne Yukimura, the mayor of Kauai County, get houses built within 4 weeks after Hurricane Iniki? How did that happen? I'm trying to get her number to contact her, because let's follow her example. She rebuilt an entire island, not just one town, and she started having houses being built within 4 weeks and had people going home already by now. A year later, come on. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that have progressed, but there's a lot of things that have not. And for me, my main charge from day one has to take care of the people of Lahaina, literally the fire victims, highlighting, prioritizing fire victims, and for them to come back to their properties in Lahaina. Because what is Lahaina without the Lahaina people? What about all the people paying for mortgages on a lot with ash on it? Well, gravel now. That's kind of where I'm at, and why this place is so near and dear, and it's like this oasis and such a private area here in the middle of the entire burn zone. Yet Waine'e graveyard, it's just, we rang the bell, you know, for the named deceased people. Personally, I believe there's more. We'll never be able to ignore what this graveyard represents and the significance of who's in it. There's no way.
Mahalo, Willie.
Yeah, thanks for being here.